This is from our friend overseas, Eva Bartlett. The West is silent as Ukraine targets civilians in Donetsk using banned petal mines. What? How is this possible? So this was actually published. She publishes on RT, but she also put it on her own inGaza and Beyond. And she's showing here, these are what these petal mines look like. And I'll show you a couple more. She's got a couple more pictures in here as well. And she writes an article about that on Saturday, July 30th, just after 9 p.m. Thunderous explosions rocked central Donetsk shortly after there were announcements that air defense had shot down Ukrainian-fired missiles containing petal mines that, given that over 300 of these explosives are packed into each of the Ukrainian-fired rockets, central Donetsk could literally become a minefield if they successfully landed. And social media telegram warnings urged residents to stay inside, wait for emergency services to clear the streets, which they began doing throughout the night. But come daylight, untold numbers of these tiny devices still remain. More warnings were issued to stay at home, better to be late for work than lose a leg. Residents that absolutely have to go out are advised to keep their eyes down, watch where they step, avoid grassy areas, and walk extremely carefully. Wow. Okay, and here she's showing just some of the pictures of spots that were identified and several groups of mines. While Ukraine has been using these mines on Donbass for many months, in recent days they've intensely bombarded neighborhoods with them. Initially targeted were the hard-hit districts of Kievsky in the north, Kirovsky in the southwest, and Kubishevsky in the west. I'm butchering that probably, but I'm gonna go with it. But as of Saturday night, Ukraine hammered central Donetsk with them too. Happy birthday, Anthony, by the way. And now walking in the city center is a nightmare, one that Eva herself has personally had to endure. How widespread these mines are in central streets and walkways, near apartments, in parks.
I know Lip talked about seeing them too.
Yep. All right, and I think George also, Eliason also talked about that. All right, so
yep.
As it turns out, the petals are not only widespread, but also often very difficult to spot, even if warning signs have been placed right next to them. Their small shape, dull color blends in with surroundings, and if you aren't actively looking at the spot you're in, you could easily miss them. When walking, you learn to avoid any objects that could be covering a mine and tread only on bare streets or sidewalks, which is sad. The first bunch of mines that she saw were circled in chalk. Warning sign placed in front of to keep cars from driving over them. People stepping from stepping on them. All right, this was on a central Donetsk street, a residential area with shops and a park nearby. Why weren't they cleared? The entire area was littered with the petals. DPR sappers worked methodically, clearing area by area, but given that hundreds of the mines were dropped all over the city, this is painstaking work. Yeah, they need like explosives crews. So this was again on August 1st, uploaded these videos in two parts of what the soldiers are doing in clearing the area of the petal mines. Near some apartment blocks, numerous mines have been found, and warning signs had been put out. Danger, mines, and it said that by the tiny explosives circled with chalk or a tire or whatever was available to draw the eye to its presence. But on many occasions, looking at the area designated as containing a mine, it took me a good while to actually see it. Now imagine if there were no signs at all, a bloodbath for civilians and animals too, since it doesn't take significant weight to set them off. So what is a petal mine? Well, it's around the size of an average cigarette lighter. The petals are tiny but still very powerful. A clip shared on Telegram illustrates this. A DPR soldier chucks a tire at one of the mines and the tire is flung high in the air from the blast. It doesn't take a powerful imagination to estimate what would happen if a person stepped foot on one of them. The explosives are placed via remote delivery methods, meaning they can be spread by mortar, missile, or artillery, dropped by helicopters and planes. That's literally how big they are.
Yep.
Okay. According to DPR Emergency Services, Ukraine is using Hurricane MLRS-fired rockets to spread the mines. Each contains 12 cluster munitions. Each cluster has 26 mines inside, so each bomb has 312 mines. The cluster explodes in the air, disseminating them widely, scattering them in different directions. Their butterfly-like design enables them to glide and land without exploding, usually. Then they lie in wait for someone with bad luck to step on. Some of these anti-personnel mines have a self-destruct timer. Others, including the ones Ukraine is firing, have a years-long shelf life. They do pretty much no damage to military vehicles, and therefore their use in Donbass is insidious, deliberately targeting civilians to leave them maimed. On July 30th, in a densely inhabited working-class district of western Donetsk, in a field with garden plots for nearby apartment residents, Eva herself saw the same nefarious mines. Originally scattered, they had been collected and awaited destruction by DPR emergency services. In the large courtyard of an apartment complex, she watched from a safe distance as emergency services timer detonated 8 mines they had found around the grounds. The day prior, they had destroyed 26. Another 150 were located and destroyed using a radio-controlled minesweeper. But there remains much to be done to restore the streets and courtyards to safety. So since the mines were scattered on Saturday evening and the DPR representative office at the JCCC has created an interactive map showing the areas most contaminated by the mines, giving residents a general warning of which areas to avoid while walking or driving it. While some cars have been lucky enough to only have a tire blown out, were the mine to detonate near the gas tank, the entire vehicle could explode. Of course.
Yeah.
Multiple civilians have been killed by these mines since they were scattered over Donetsk, and even now, wounded civilians are still coming to the city's hospitals. According to Vadim Onoprienko, the deputy director of a trauma surgery center, 10 amputations have been performed over the last week. Victims of Saturday's mines, and ones that have been dropped earlier, one of whom was an 83-year-old man.
Jesus.
Now, who's doing this? Well, unfortunately, all evidence, according to Eva here, points to Ukraine. So pro-Ukrainian commentators are unsurprisingly blaming Russia. Journalists claiming to care about civilians are perpetuating Ukrainian propaganda, saying that Moscow's forces are scattering the mines over civilian areas. Never mind the fact that these territories are controlled by Russia's allies, so why would they? Among them is the would-be war hero Malcolm Nance, who temporarily abandoned his job as a notoriously anti-Russian MSNBC analyst to apparently actually fight the Russians in Ukraine. Oh, God. G.I. Bro, if I remember correctly, is our brother Daryl at INN, Black in the Empire, called him. Okay. So, here's butterfly mines. These toy-colored mines are designed to maim you by popping off toes or a foot. This was another war crime. Right. He's lying.
Oh, Malcolm just... yes, of course he is.
Right. It's Ukraine dropping them. And orcs? Come on, Nance. At least pretend to be a decent human. Right. Orcs. Okay. This is the kind of projection that she's seen ad nauseum when reporting from Syria and dealing with Western propaganda there. Okay. Ukrainian nationalists openly admit that they do not see the Donbass people as human and encourage their murder. Ukraine has been killing and maiming citizens in the Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republic for over 8 years, including firing cluster munitions into the heart of cities, targeting hospitals, markets, schools, busy streets. Given all this, scattering butterfly mines over Donetsk is hardly surprising. It's criminal, but not surprising. So one argument used by pro-Ukrainian commentators is that Kiev has been destroying these mines under the Anti-Personnel Mine Ban Convention, which it signed in 1999. However, out of the 6 million such mines they initially declared in its possession, only 2 million have reportedly been destroyed as of 2018. So, so here again is this Nina, a blue check. The EU and NATO were helping Ukraine destroy its Petal mine stockpiles as part of EU. Look how well that went with Donbass suffering from these for 8 years. And again, right there, they're talking about that, right? But then, how are they getting there? Russia's not making these Petal mines. They're not appearing from anywhere else. So, Ukraine has good reason to believe that it will not be held accountable for using them against civilians, given its Western backers and their allies' penchant for using prohibited weapons on civilians without repercussions, including Agent Orange in Vietnam, depleted uranium in Iraq and Syria, and white phosphorus and dart bombs in Gaza.
White phosphorus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the dart bombs were fucking anyway. Yep.
Yep. And the fact that Western media turns a blind eye is also a boon to Kiev. Right? So this is one of the Telegram channels that Eva had shared from that post. And actually, I zoomed in. It blends in so much to the grass. Like, I had to zoom in, and I couldn't even see it when I zoomed in. I was like, wait, I'm guessing that shadow is it? I mean, it's kind of, now, it's interesting because on stream that I'm seeing it on OBS, it actually does look, you can kind of see it stand out in that circle right there.
Yeah.
And that's funny. That black thing is actually a tree, but because I'm on against a green screen, it looks black. That's funny.
Yeah.
So again, I just wanted to showcase Eva's work. Please support Eva Bartlett. And I thought I had a graphic about Eva. She is an incredible writer. She's written for RT at Eva K Bartlett. EVA-K Bartlett is her handle. I'll get some stuff together, and it's going to be all in the descriptions afterwards for sure. Welcome everybody to the chat. That was our first story talking about Ukraine petal mines. And again, I want to shout out independent journalist Eva Bartlett, who is on Ukraine kill list. She is reporting from the Donbass right now. Ukraine is targeting her, and we are, hoping that she stays safe. Appreciate the work that she does and the effort and the commitment that she's got to bringing the story and telling the truth from on the ground and countering what the NATO narrative is, because otherwise, who's going to do that? Who's going to give you the truth from on the ground and in country that's English speaking, that we know has reported on these things in the framing that's anti-corporate, that's looking at it from an anti-corruption perspective, and that's got the receipts and it's done the work, and she's got the chops and the history.